Ladies and gentlemen, after much deliberation, we have come today for Banter Ball Podcast. I am your wonderful host, Kyle Pritchard. Here always with, or not always, I guess, technically, but for the most part, Brennan and Korey.
Out of 25.
Pretty good record there.
Yeah, I've been here every time.
That's true, and I have as well. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Good. I don't think there was much deliberation.
There was a little deliberation.
This was kind of like,
There's
you gotta
deliberation.
be here for Banter Ball, because it happens every Thursday.
No, exactly. Well, you guys see it every Friday.
Yes.
We're here every Thursday.
It's a little...
during the Magic Timberwolves game right now.
which is not looking too good for Minnesota.
Yeah, very good for Luka Doncic.
Let's go over the rules here. As always, get 25 minutes total. I'm going to ask these wonderful gentlemen 2 questions, or however many questions. If they agree, they get
2.
I'm going to ask them a certain amount of questions. If they agree, they get 1 minute to talk about it.
Today.
Yes. And then if they disagree, they get 35 seconds each, and then a minute 30 to hopefully come to an agreement. Let's just get right into it. Oh, also, we have our speed round, which I'm very excited for.
How many agreements do we have to get to at the end?
We have to get to 10 to avoid punishment. And I don't know when that will happen to any of us, but we'll see.
It should
All right.
happen.
Let's get started here, gentlemen. Let me pick a question, and then after I stop saying the answer or the question, I will start the timer. Let's go to the National Basketball Association. The first question up on the board. The Celtics have swept the Pacers in arguably kind of a close series. They had large leads in both Game 3 and 4 at some point. What exactly was the Pacers' Achilles heel in most of these games? Timer started, gentlemen. Let's see. Okay, we have two different answers here. Let's let Korey go first.
Okay, so I said it was because they lost Tyrese Halliburton in Game 2. It seems like a cop-out answer a little bit, but it's also the correct answer. I mean, after the best game that they had, most scored points that they had, was in Game 1 by far. In that game, Tyrese Halliburton accounted for like 45 to 50 points. He had 25 points, 10 assists, which is what he typically has throughout the season. And you lose all of that. Andrew Nembhard tried to be a replacement for that, but that's not going to be as consistent. Yeah. And it wasn't reliable for Games 3 or 4. He lost air at the end of the game in both situations, and they just didn't have a leader to lead on.
All right, Brennan, go ahead.
All right, so I said there were too many mental errors on the Pacers side of the ball, and I have to disagree with Korey fully on this. I think even with Halliburton, that still would have lost, even if in 4, maybe 5. But there were just too many mental errors, and this is expected with a young team like the Pacers who play at a fast pace. But what you saw, they were throwing the ball away, trying to make fancy passes. I mean, we saw the one play with Tyrese, I'm pretty sure it was in that series, where he just like flat out fell into the scorer's table.
Yeah.
So there were just too many mental errors, and with a team like the Celtics, that just can't happen.
Sure.
In the playoffs,
all right. Especially give the gentleman a minute 30.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Brennan. Like, I do think, even with Tyrese Halliburton, I think him as a player does make some, like, flashy plays that could be considered as mental errors. I mean, he really loves the backboard.
He loves
shooting threes.
He loves the behind the back pass. That
yes,
goes, yeah.
Exactly. He just loves fast, accelerating play. But what I disagree with you about is that the Pacers don't need exactly that. Like, the Pacers' identity this whole season was a fast offense. That offense doesn't go
What
without Tyrese Halliburton.
What exactly do they not need, though? Because you said...
What do you mean? You're saying that they didn't need Tyrese Halliburton. You said that they would have lost no matter what.
I think so. Yes.
I don't think so. I think Tyrese Halliburton... I think they would have lost. First of all, I do think they would have lost. I do 100% think they were going to...
I think Halliburton's a good player, but not that great.
But, I mean, you ask what the make or break, like, what their Achilles heel in this situation was. If they don't have Tyrese Halliburton, the offense doesn't go the way they want it to.
No, sure.
The only reason it did go in some way is because they've seen how Halliburton is.
But the thing with Halliburton is, and maybe I would agree with you, but what we saw in Games 3 and Game 4 is pretty similar to exactly what we saw in Game 1 with Halliburton.
Yeah, but do you think that Halliburton would have been better to learn from those mistakes, or do you think Andrew Nembhard is better to learn from those mistakes?
Honestly, in the middle of a Eastern Conference final with like 5,
they barely lost game.
I know, right?
Overtime decision, and that was more because the Celtics came back. They shouldn't have lost Game 1 to begin with. Like, Pacers shouldn't have had a chance.
All right. Honestly, I mean, I just think that Boston just completely outmatched them.
I mean, the Achilles heel was that Boston was their opponents.
Exactly. That was the bigger Achilles heel.
All right, so honestly, I
do disagree. I think Halliburton was the key here.
I kind of saying that they had leads in game 3 and 4.
That was a good conversation, though.
Sure, I kind of was trying to lead away from Halliburton.
The scoring was way down.
But they limited Boston too, which they kept it close.
All right, gentlemen, if you guys want to...
Can I have the eraser?
Sure. If you guys want to continue here. Let's go to the Major League of Baseball. I love me some baseball.
Okay.
Let's go ahead. Let's go to the first question up on the board here. What has to happen in order for the Braves to compete in the National League now that Acuna is now out for the year with the ACL tear, trying to run the bases, non-contact injury? Very unfortunate. Let's see what our two wonderful contestants have to say. Brennan, go ahead and show yours first.
So I said, remember the year 2021. All right, Korey, you probably don't know what happened in 2021.
Okay, so
I know what happened in 20. Yeah, I know that they won.
Acuna was hurt. He was out for the season that year.
I know that.
So they got to remember what they did in 2021, which is dominate the trade deadline. In the trade deadline that year, 2021, they had Jock Peterson, Jorge Soler, Eddie Rosario. Oh, did I go way over?
No. Oh. You went on thinking that he disagreed with you, but he totally agrees with you.
Oh,
okay. I 100% agree.
Okay, so gentlemen.
All right.
Well, okay, you can keep talking about 2021.
2021. Okay.
What did they do?
They got at the trade deadline. They got Jock Peterson a couple days before, Jorge Soler, Eddie Rosario, Adam Duvall. Rosario won the NLCS MVP. Soler won the World Series MVP. It's playing the Braves roster as it's built is still good enough to contend for a World Series even without Acuna. They've done it in the past. They can do it again. True. The pitching is still very solid. The bullpen's pretty good, and they still have big boppers in the lineup.
So my concern, I agree, they do need to get active in the trade market, and that's because I don't know if they really are presently constructed to win game. There have been some concerning losses in the recent weeks here.
Sure, but I mean,
big margins, and that's why I'm not typically one that says go to the market. I say hey, maybe improve on some things or trust in certain things. But I think if they do go to the market, they're going to be able to fix exactly what they need to fix,
and that's
because
exactly
they have
what they
enough
did.
of a core, but they
exactly
need
what they did.
Be better defensive. They need to get more hitting, to replace Acuna a lot.
All right.
So yeah, I think they could definitely benefit from being
nice. Yeah. Very, very good. Now we're just gonna rebound right back up to the National Football League. Ooh, obviously, I'm the number one football fan here.
Rebound.
I think we should do basketball. That's fine. NFL. Which team has improved the most since the start of last season?
I've talked about them 4 times on this show, and I'll do it again.
Okay, we have disagreements. Let's let Brennan go first.
All right. So I said the Philadelphia Eagles. It was really between them and Korey's answer, which is the Chicago Bears. But I went with the Eagles largely because not only did they get better, player-wise, they added Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio as the offensive and defensive coordinators. Of course, last season we saw that horrible collapse on both sides of the ball. And I think those two coordinators are greatly going to fill in and provide a huge impact for Philly. In terms of players, though, they got Saquon Barkley, C.J. Gardner Johnson, added 2 great corners in the draft. I think Philly's the most improved team.
All right, let's let Korey go next.
Yeah, no, I definitely love what Philadelphia has done, especially as far as the strategic idea of it goes. But I said the Chicago Bears because they've really reshaped, and again, I've said it a lot of times, they've really reshaped what they are. Whereas last season, they spent a lot of their time wondering what their identity was going to be going forward and sitting on uncertainty for a long period of time. Now they have 3 wide receiver options that could probably be wide receiver 1s, maybe just wide receiver 2 if you're considering DJ Moore on other teams here. Rodunze is a big deal, and they have Caleb Williams coming out of the draft, and they had DeAndre Swift in free agency, and they have Keenan Allen. That's big. I think my biggest thing is I think the Eagles have done more to get up to a championship contender. I don't necessarily think that last season they weren't at that. I think they fell apart is what happened.
So that means they weren't at it. But hold on.
They fell to that.
Let me ask you this.
They were 11-1
This is going to determine whether we're going to agree or not. How high are you on Caleb Williams?
I'm pretty high, but not that high.
Okay, not that high. Where would you?
I'm high on him, but I want to see him play.
Okay. All right. So the reason I said the Eagles over the Bears had a large part to do with Caleb Williams, I'm not particularly high on him. I think that there were other quarterbacks in the draft that I would have taken over him.
So, okay.
Whoa.
So I am definitely,
that's a hot take.
I'm definitely high enough on Caleb Williams that he should have been the number 1 overall pick. What I'm not super high on is that he can turn around a franchise
That he can be a CJ Stroud.
That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that, like, you were talking about, like, mindset things and, like, having everything together as far as offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators. I think you've seen more of that with the Bears now because literally all of last season they're like, what do we do with Justin Fields? What are we going to do going forward? Do we win games? Because we don't know how to. And now they are going to win games. Now they have exactly what they're going to be. And they're going to have time to wait it out.
I think they'll win more.
They won 7 games last season. I mean, like,
it's very hard.
They're going to be confident in what they have, no matter how it goes, and that confidence is going to be the key. Eagles are on a very shaky ground right now. If things don't start off the season very well at the beginning, then they could fall apart immediately.
If you want to go back to your original agreement that the Eagles are more constructed, built for like a championship,
they're more of a contender.
I did use the word rebound. So I guess if you want to phrase the question for Korey, which team has rebounded the best? I think it probably is Chicago.
I think so. We need to wait and see what happens.
I understand. I understand your thing, Brennan, and I am going to disagree.
Oh wow! Okay, we have 2 disagreements. All right, we got to get through this now.
But I understand what you're saying.
All right, let's go right back to the NBA here. Who would you draft first overall if you are Atlanta? Obviously, the historical first overall selection was given to them in the lottery earlier this month. Let's see what we get. This should probably be in agreement, so let's see.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's not. Oh, my goodness. All right.
Okay, so he picked the other guy.
Yes, I picked the other French guy.
All right.
No!
Let's let Korey go first.
Okay, so I said Zachary Reisinger. I think in this draft especially, you're not going to get like a breakout star at the number 1 pick. If you're going to find a breakout star, it's going to be later in the lottery or maybe even in the second round. And with that being said, I think Atlanta is the perfect team to take a player at this point. So I said Zachary Reisinger because they need a shooting wing who might be a bench option, might be a starting option a few times, and that's exactly what he is. He has the build to succeed in the NBA. And don't let Chet Holmgren fool you, don't let Victor Wembanyama fool you, but Alex, the guy that he has right now, he does not have a build that is 100% guaranteed to succeed.
Okay, Brennan, go ahead.
Okay, so he may not have the build, but I feel like he's definitely, by the way, I said Alexandre Sarr. I think he has some very similar traits to Victor Wembanyama, and I'm not saying that he is on the same level, because he is never going to be on the same school as Victor Wembanyama. But the same style of play and the same physicality, I think, match Wembanyama are similar to that. All right, he has the athleticism to do a little bit of everything on the court, can play offense, can play defense, can do everything. In terms of positional depth, they have some players at his position, but I think with him, he can learn and grow.
Okay, so if you're Atlanta, why are you benefiting from Alexandre Sarr?
Probably because I think he has great upside, and whichever point guard they decide to roll forward with, I think he would match very nicely.
Okay. So you're saying that he brings in instead of Clint Capella here, and so you rely on him as a number 1 center option, right?
Sure.
I don't think you're going to get that here. I don't think you're going to get this in that draft.
Okay,
and I think if you don't get that for Atlanta, they have wasted their pick if they don't.
So
get
what's Atlanta getting if they?
If they're getting Reisinger, they're getting a guaranteed guy who is 6'9", who can stretch the floor. He has the build to succeed in the NBA at any kind of role. They're going to get some scoring. They already have players on their team like that who can kind of score from any situation. Like DeAndre Hunter,
Sure.
They picked him a few drafts ago at number 4. I think he's the perfect guy to be like, oh, this is a stable guy who can be on our team no matter what in anything. And that's what you're getting with Reisinger. That's what you need in this draft if you're Atlanta and you're going to try to compete.
You should be his agent.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a crapshoot this draft. I mean, either one of these 2 guys is going to go first. I'm not entirely sold. I can probably get behind.
What I'm saying is for Atlanta, and this is my question to see if you agree. For Atlanta, do you go for a guy who you're trying to be like, oh, this can be the next star in this draft, even though this draft doesn't have as much star power? Or do you go for a guy that you think can help you win now?
If you're Atlanta, I think
Atlanta.
All right. It depends on what you do with Trae Young.
And potentially DeJounte Murray.
And DeJounte Murray. If they keep the pieces, I think they win now. If they trade off, then I think you have to rebuild for the future.
I don't think you're rebuilding around Alexandre Sarr.
Of course not.
I think you build now, and if you don't, you rebuild next season.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah,
Two
because you're not going to rebuild around him, but you gotta wait.
The toughest that we've had here.
Zachary Reisinger, man. I thought you were a hawk.
You let me look at your.
You have a thing.
No, I was looking at which one not to say here. All right, let's go to the NHL. Let's just go for the fun question. I always like to have a fun question here. What are the potential names for the new NHL team in Utah? Which should be selected? There was a bunch of potential answers.
Okay.
I understand. I have a rebuttal.
Let's let Korey. Korey seems to be very vocal about this. Let's let him go.
All right, I said the Utah Caribou. Here's the thing. I love the idea of a team kind of like, there are a few options like the Blast and stuff. I like that like essence of a team, but I think you're already getting that a lot with the Colorado Avalanche. If you're getting like an essence of like an environment or something like that. That's why Brennan's answered the Glaciers. I don't think you lean into the environmental ideas of this, which a lot of the team options are. I think you go for the animal here, which is why I said the Caribou. Caribou. It's like a deer, but like with bigger, like it's kind of like a deer moose kind of thing.
I see. All right.
Caribou are cool.
Let's let Brennan go.
Okay. Are there any caribou in Alaska?
I was gonna say
Utah.
Are there
glaciers in Utah? Probably.
I mean, they're like in the mountains.
It's pretty cool up there.
I mean, it's pretty cool. I said the Glaciers. I think it's a cool team name, and honestly, all of the names that I looked off of the list, I know they're down to 2 now, but like all the original names, they were all kind of like youth team, reminded me of like Little League hockey.
That's fair.
And so I was like, okay, the Glaciers sounds kind of cool. Like the Outlaws, the Freeze, the Ice, and the Venom are just 4 names I picked out. If you want to go for animal, though, there was one name on there that I've been seeing all over TikTok, and you can continue this into our discussion here, because this is where I'm going to start talking to Korey. There was this team, I think it was called, like, it wasn't the Rattlesnakes, but it was, have you seen on TikTok?
I'm not sure if I have.
Like, the one snake, they were going to name it after...
The Cobras? Or
I think it might have been the Rattlesnakes.
Vipers?
The Rattlesnakes. But, like, the logo was actually, it was like the head of a rattlesnake.
Around like a hockey puck?
No, it was like shaped like a hockey puck almost. Ooh. It was like a vertical, and it was kind of like the coyote, you know those really nice like Coyotes jerseys.
Well, so that's going to lead me into exactly what I'm saying here is that you can have more of a branding opportunity around animals.
All right, you want to agree on animal names?
I think you definitely got to lean into the animals.
Animals, Utah. The bees too. I mean, they have a big bee. Like
like a hive.
Yeah, like a beehive. Like the hive. Like that would be a great.
I think that was one of the. I think that was one. I think it was. Yeah, the bees and the hive.
So we're bringing on bees.
Ooh, that sounds cool. I think you just gotta leave.
Call the arena the hive.
Yeah, that's what he said. That's what I said. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Their state flag has a beehive in it, I believe.
I think it does.
Yeah,
I think they changed it.
It's really. Yeah, they just recently changed it. Okay. That's 3. I feel like we're not doing too well. I feel like I'm agreeing with you.
We need one more.
To at least be potentially safe for that. Well, let's keep going. Let's go back to the NBA.
Okay.
The Timberwolves seem all but out in this series against the Mavericks.
Yeah.
How do they attack the offseason to make sure they not only can continue to compete in this very tough Western Conference, but hopefully make the finals? As we are recording this, they're down like 30. So we'll see what happens here.
Oh my gosh.
They are.
This is a long thing to write on a whiteboard.
I mean, like. Okay. I'll let both of you see.
What did you say?
See your
I
answers
said
here.
this. I think Anderson's a free agent.
Yeah, they can sign and trade it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right, I can get behind that.
Okay. A minute is given.
So I do think as a true small forward is kind of what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to say that maybe Jaden McDaniels could be a true small forward.
I was seeing that.
Potentially, if you want to lean into the Rudy Gobert thing. Mm-hmm. If you don't, if you want to maybe trade Gobert away, and I potentially said do a sign and trade with Kyle Anderson, maybe try to throw Gobert into that trade.
Really?
Yes, I like Rudy Gobert and what he has done, and he's had a lot of this identity here, but like for their season and their defense. But I think that's something that Naz Reid and other guys on the team can carry forward.
Exactly.
So I think I think maybe you move on from him because he's not going to be here for the long term anyway, and then add a true small forward. You also need to get more point guard options.
Yeah, point guard. I mean, Mike Conley's getting up there in age. If he can go out, definitely.
And he's a perfect job.
He's a very great, very solid point guard. He is the driver of that offense. He's one of the reasons Ant is succeeding into superstardom. And that's going to lead me into my next point. Speaking of Ant, I think you also got to start. I'm not saying you have to do it this offseason, but you got to start at least talking to him about getting him there long term for Minnesota. Because he is.
No, 100%. But I think you add like a piece and then
add a couple pieces, grab some depth,
because they're over the salary cap.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, there we go. Let's go to baseball here.
Okay.
Love me some baseball. This is a question written directly to my heart because I hated him.
Yeah.
Umpire Angel Hernandez finally has retired after years of dismay from many players and managers. The main reason why this did not happen sooner is because the umpires union counter-protected him a little too much from any sort of discipline. Do you think this should change? If so, how would you change it? Oh, we are completely opposite here.
All right.
Let's let Brennan go.
This guy, Angel Hernandez, has ruined game after game after game after game.
It's very true.
Every team. And has he gotten punished for it once? No. This dude should have been out of the league years ago. But every day at some poor ballpark, you see this guy behind home plate calling a ball right down the middle, ball 4 walk. The amount of games this guy has ruined is just unbelievable, and umps like him need to be punished.
Wow, okay. Let's let Korey go. That was very
well. Here's the thing. The idea of punishing an umpire and making him lose his job is all fine and dandy, especially whenever it's coming from Armad, who literally said that he would be okay with replacing umpires with robots.
I was like the first episode.
Yeah, just saying that is something that he said. Mm-hmm. The umpires union deserves to exist,
I agree with that.
And deserves to protect its umpires.
Sure.
Because if you use Angel Hernandez as a scapegoat in a lot of ways, which people have been doing in the past, then you lead to a whole other snowballing effect of things that just ruins people's careers. And I think that they should definitely have the ability to protect him at every cost. It didn't stop Angel Hernandez from eventually getting fired here. Maybe it should have happened sooner, but I don't think that's the umpires union's fault. I think the umpires union should and did protect them at every cost in order to protect the name of umpires as a whole.
I agree they should have. They were in the right to protect him, and I agree that not every ump is as bad as Angel Hernandez. But when you're looking at a guy like this, he was atrocious.
Yeah.
And legendarily atrocious. And so he needed at least some form of punishment. Now, if you don't want to do it in a major way, that's fine. The umpires union, I agree with you, it deserves to exist.
So when I was saying in a major way specifically, I mean don't change the umpires union majorly.
Okay.
I think there could probably be things done on the MLB's part, whether that be negotiations with the umpires union or just putting their foot down and being like, hey, we employ you. This is what we're going to do.
Transparency.
Then
I agree.
I think there should have been changes in this situation, and maybe with how the MLB checks out umpires and stuff.
I get that.
But I don't think there should be any changes for the umpires union, at least not in the
not for the union.
The union
is fine. There needs to be some sort of collaboration between those two.
Yeah.
And for guys like Angel Hernandez, there needs to be some form of
and I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with using Angel Hernandez as a scapegoat to make people lose their jobs.
Yeah.
We can talk about him all we want, but let's not do that. Let's go to the NHL again. Okay. Which one did you not answer?
Rangers.
The Rangers one? Okay. Let's talk about how these teams are formed. So the Stars and Oilers currently in the Western Conference Finals. And they kind of got here in two different ways. You know, for the most part, Dallas consists of a lot of younger players trying to kind of shock the world. I mean, there's some talent there, but for the most part, they are much younger than at least the Oilers. And the Oilers, again, a lot older with a lot more
Can you save us our time here?
Under their belt. Which way of team building do you think will be more fruitful down the line?
All right.
Okay.
Fine.
Here.
I disagree.
Let's let Korey go.
Okay, so I said leaning to what Kyle called unproven and young. You've been seeing that a lot in different leagues, all the NBA, you've seen the Thunder. That's been happening here recently. And young players give you two big things. One is it gives you potential, and actually three big things. Two, it gives you energy, which you don't necessarily have from hype guys and people who expect to be there and have a specific role. And three, it gives you versatility, because if you're bringing in young players who don't necessarily have an established role or an established expectation with the organization, that's going to be very different than if you're bringing in Connor McDavid, who's like, oh, I am this person.
Brennan, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so I said a mix of both, and honestly, I agree with Korey to start. You need the young talent, you need a young pool of players to begin for the exact reasons he said. The energy, the young potential to grow. But as those guys get better and better, there are going to be a couple that aren't maybe as good as the superstars that you need to build around. So that's when you go in and you grab some guaranteed guys. I'm just going to give two examples here. Corbin Burns on the Baltimore Orioles, Pascal Siakam on the Indiana Pacers. Those two very good veteran guys who are going to add to this team.
Okay, so I'm okay with adding veteran guys. But here's the thing. Anytime you bring in a superstar, and even if you're adding a star, you are taking a risk if you are putting that in a mix here. Because if I'm adding Anthony Davis to my team and then something goes wrong and it's not working, what am I going to do? Tell Anthony Davis that he shouldn't be that he should be moved to the bench or whatever it may be. You have that versatility and you have that flexibility with young guys. You don't have that with stars. So I think you have to start at the core with the young and then maybe bring in a few people.
Even with Connor McDavid, he was raised in the Oilers system. He is their superstar.
Exactly.
So they did that. So I completely agree with you.
But if he goes somewhere else now, he's going to be like, this is me, I deserve to do this. And if it goes wrong, they have made a mistake.
Yeah. Unless he goes to a team that's so bad where he can be the number one guy and they can build around him and they don't have any proven players who can be that superstar for the future, I 100% agree with you.
All right.
Okay. Awesome.
So how many is that, gentlemen? I believe that's
six.
Six. Okay.
Wow.
We got one more, right?
And
come on!
No, that's it. That's
come on! Can't we get one more?
Right at the time.
You were talking so long, though.
That's fair. I don't think that they would have given you much
one more.
All right. So they've scored 6 points. Now we're going to our speed round. What we're going to do
so much research.
is sports categories. So this is how this is going to work. Whoa. Is that they're going to actually work together for this. And I'm going to go into a separate room. I have 6 categories on my whiteboard right now, and I'm going to give them all a letter, and they have to come up with a unique one for each category. Only one, so don't come up with multiple. If you want to come up with one good answer. And if it is a differing answer from mine, then they get a point. If we have the same answer, then it will be no points awarded. So they need, how many points? You guys need 4 points, do you?
4 points, because you won't give us another question.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys 3 minutes. I'm going to tell you the categories here. So I just want you, so the categories are, just name a Big Four team. You can write that down somewhere. Of any sport, or for the 4 sports in North America. Any stadium. I should maybe preface stadium as in pro stadium, so not college. An athlete that played for a team from the Big Ten. An athlete that played for a team in the Big 12. Any sort of sports equipment, anything you use for any sort of sport, and then a nickname for a particular athlete. And I would also preface the letter I'm going to use is T. So anything with the letter, any nickname starts with the word the, I am not going to count.
Okay. All right. So I have a couple questions here. So Big Four team. Do we have to? Can we include a city, or does it have to be the actual team?
Could it be
team name?
Team name. Okay. And then
team name.
Stadium, is that just Big Four? Big Four, and then Big 10, Big 12. Are those current or former?
And are those first names or last names?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I'm going to say last names, and they had to have played in the Big 12. If they had moved,
so they can either currently be there or formally be there.
No, formally be there.
Formal.
Oh, so they can't be there.
But school-wise, if a kid played in Missouri, however many years ago, and they were in the Big 12 then, that counts. But if they played Missouri,
okay,
that doesn't count.
Okay, but
there's
if we went, I don't know who the West Virginia quarterback is, so we can't say him though.
Gary Green
currently plays there.
Okay. Someone who's currently in a sport. All right.
Okay.
So I'm gonna leave. You guys Time yourself for 3 minutes. I will try my best as well.
All right, you better go like somewhere.
Oh,
You
sure.
can't
I'm
hear
gonna
us.
go far out here.
There's no chance, Brennan. 4
All right.
of 6. Okay.
I'm starting my 3-minute timer now.
All right. Okay. So let's start on the stadium. The stadium is big because I don't know a lot of stadiums.
Big 4.
Can we look up stadiums? It's not legal.
I was gonna ask him if we could look stuff up.
I'm gonna look up stadiums.
What do you want for Big 14?
Okay. So what we have?
Well, I mean, you have like
The Thunder, the Timberwolves, the Texans from the
Titans.
the Titans. Ooh, I like that Titans pick.
Titans.
I don't know if he'll go Titans, but I like that pick.
Titans.
It's only 3 minutes, so we gotta
Yeah,
pick on him. I don't think he'll lean into NHL, so I think we can avoid.
Hey guys, so it stopped recording at the end, but we got the categories. We did
erase all of the categories.
Yeah, we did.
All right, we said the Twins. He said the Titans. We said T-Mobile Arena. He said the TIAA.
Big field.
Which I don't know if you got it on the recording, but Brennan was really pulling for that one, which I said no.
Yep, he saved up.
Jay Sean Tate was a winner. Justin Tucker was a winner, which you probably didn't hear us say.
Taylor Lewan and Tyler Lockett for those.
Yeah.
And then I said T for sports equipment. And then for nickname, I said Teddy Two Gloves.
Tennis shoes were a winner. Terminator was a winner.
Yep, Jim Kelly.
That's how it's done.
All right.
Ryan Kelly, let's go.
Jim Kelly.
Jim
Yep.
Kelly.
K gun offense. But yeah, that's the podcast. Sorry that you didn't catch the end of it, but we will make sure that happens in the next episode, which is next week. So we will see you later. Have a good one, everyone. Make sure to follow, subscribe on everything, and we'll see you later. Goodbye.
Bye.